doing, but just in case.
Afternoon, athletes. Welcome to today's lockdown session. It's good to see you all. It has been a while, and I'm sure everyone is taking full advantage. Oh, we've got a visitor today. Taking full advantage of the freedom sessions that we have in the mornings. So today we're going to just be bringing it down a notch and winding down for the weekend. So all we need is a mat, a little bit of space, a pet, your neighbor's pet if you want in our case, and a belt or a long towel, so we can get a little bit of mobility going on. We are going to incorporate a little bit of stability work today as well. So just on that note, if you have been doing a lot of range of motion work and flexibility stuff and you're finding that you're not getting the results that you want, it's probably your body crying out for a little bit of stability. So if you are struggling with that, you've been trying hard at getting some things to work out, chat to your various healthcare professionals and they will be able to get you on the right track. So make sure you've got all that you need. We've got our sidekick here as ever. Some of the demonstrations are not so pretty for me at this moment with the 34-week-old bub. So let's just get going then. You're going to be standing on the edge of your mat and we're going to have a pre-activation sequence to start with. So it's quite handy having a Bailey to show you what to do here for this one. So we're going to be trying to get into that transverse abdominis, which is part of our deep stabilizing or abdominal stabilizers. It's a muscle that wraps from one side of the spine all the way around to the other. And it gives us our central stabilizing column, or it at least is one of the muscles that's part of the central stabilizing system. So we're going to stand with your feet about hip distance apart. We're just going to be trying to activate that TA, and you're going to do that by drawing the belly in towards the spine. So you're going to inhale, let the belly hang nice and loose, and as you exhale, draw belly in and up towards the spine. You're not changing the angle of the pelvis just to begin with. We're literally just trying to get that nice tightening sensation happening through the lower abdominal region. You feel an approximation of those hips in the front, and you should comfortably be able to talk and breathe whilst you're doing this. Inhale, release, and exhale in. Holding that there. Hopefully you can see the change with this belly. It's not so easy with a flat stomach. And again, you're not bearing down, you're not holding your breath, you're able to talk whilst you're holding on to that nice tight band. Inhale, release, and exhale, draw it in and up. If you want to get that pelvic floor lifting in and up at the same time too, that's great. It's that nice knaping mechanism, great Afrikaans word. That drawing in from below, holding on to a big wee, and release. And last one, exhale, draw all the way in and up, hold that there, and gently relax. Okay, so now that we've gotten those guys awake a little bit, you're going to try and remember to get that sequence going throughout the different exercises that we do. It is difficult to maintain it throughout the movement, but your aim is to try and just come back to that as your initiating point for your exercises. So we're going to get going with our roll down. You're going to tuck your chin down towards your chest, slowly start rolling down towards the floor. Hanging nice and heavy at the bottom, your knees are slightly bent. You're going to gently rock from front to back on those feet. Lovely stuff. Let that head hang nice and heavy, gently rocking forwards and backwards. And then we slowly tuck the tailbone in, curl all the way up. Lovely stuff. And we go down again, slowly reaching down towards the floor. Welcome everybody, keep coming in. Nice to see you all on this Friday afternoon. Great, hold it there. We're starting to feel that stretch get deeper into the posterior chain. And slowly curling all the way up, tuck the tailbone, use the glutes. We're not using that lower back. That's it, and we roll down once more. Please hang nice and heavy at the bottom there. This time we're going to grab onto those ankles, bend those knees, draw the chest nice and close to the knees. And we're going to exhale, straighten out through the back of those knees, keeping the chest close to the thighs. Inhale, bend the knees, draw the chest nice and close to the thighs. Keep that there. And exhale, stretch out through the back of those knees. Quite a deep stretch. Inhale, bend those knees. And exhale, straighten. And inhale, bend. And exhale, straighten, holding it there, slowly curling all the way back up for me, please. Interlacing those hands, reaching up towards the ceiling, stretching it on out. Reach over and across towards the one side. Keep equal pressure on both feet, over and across towards the other side. And coming back to center. And we slowly go all the way back down once again, please. We're going to we'll keep the knees bent. We're going to place your right hand on the outside of the left knee and your left hand behind your head. Now we're going to rotate through your mid-back. Keep the knees facing the front. And we inhale back to center. And we exhale, rotate on up. And inhale, center. And exhale up. One last one. And up. And back to center. We change over to the other side. Keep those knees facing forwards. Equal pressure on both feet. Twisting through that mid-back. Using that breath to help you. That's the one. Last two. And one. And back to center. Slowly walk the hands down towards the floor. We're going to go into our downward dog stretch. So taking that tailbone up towards the ceiling. Heels down towards the mat, taking the shoulders away from the ears. If those hammies are very tight, you can bend the knees a little bit, but try and get that back nice and flat. And we're going to hinge on down onto the floor, knees onto the mat into your 4-point position. We're going to have a nice neutral spine, so shoulders away from the ears, looking past those fingers. Make sure that serratus of the shoulder girdle is kicking in so you're not sinking into the chest. Your tailbone is in a nice neutral position, your hands are under your shoulders, and your knees are underneath your hips. So we're just going to go into our lumbar pelvic dissociation to start with. So we want to try and focus on the lower half of your spine. So we're just going to get some movement going on through the pelvic region. Nothing is going to happen up here to begin with, so keep looking just past those fingers. Shoulders stay nice and still. Our tailbone is going to rock on up. And then rock on down. So we're trying to really mobilize that lumbar pelvic region in isolation from the rest of the spine. That's trying to get some nice movement going on through there. I'm sure everything's feeling quite tight and locked up with the variance of the training and sitting behind desks and being at home all the time during this lockdown. Last 3 to go. And 2. And one last one. And then we're going to go through the rest of the spine. So tuck the tailbone in, round through that back, all the way towards the head. Chin comes in towards the chest, looking past those knees. Then slowly unraveling one segment at a time. Lovely. Tailbone first, then lower back, mid back, upper back. Head is the very last thing to go. Keep your head tucked in now, and tailbone goes out first, lower back, mid back, upper back, shoulders away from the ears, look past those fingers, chest bone out, and we go again. Really getting that deep TA activation that we started with earlier to initiate this movement. So lots of tummy work going on through here, and we go again. Lovely stuff. Curling on in, beautiful. And next one, we curl on up. We're going to change it slightly. So round up like we have been doing, holding that nice tucking sensation. Excellent. We're going to go into a little bit of a slightly different position now as we unravel. So you're going to lengthen that tailbone out, drop the bum down towards the feet, chest out in front of you all the way down into your Sphinx position. So try and get the bum down. Keep the hands where they are, open up through this chest. Pull those hands towards the armpits, so you get a nice drawing down sensation over there, and you get a beautiful activation through that thoracic region. Then we're going to curl the tailbone in, back up onto your hands and knees this time, rounding out through the spine, tucking the head underneath you, stopping so that your hips are in line with your knees. Really get that tuck going on, tailbone down underneath you, pubic bone up towards the nose. Lengthen that tailbone on out, drop the pelvis down towards the hips, open up through the chest, draw the shoulders away, keeping that chin tucking on in, making sure that sternum is lengthening out, and you're drawing down through those shoulders. Let's go again, curling in on up, round up onto those hands and knees. Lovely stuff. And out we go. And tucking all the way back in, one last one. Lovely stuff. And we drop all the way back down onto those sit bones, chest down in front of you. If you need to open those knees up, you're more than welcome to. Stretch those arms out in front of you into that child's pose, lengthening those arms away as far as you possibly can. We're going to walk both hands across towards the right hand side. Make sure that left arm is lengthening out a little bit longer than the right one. Dropping both armpits down towards the floor and breathing into your rib cage to help facilitate that stretch. Remember, those ribs are connected to those upper spinal or vertebra. And if we can breathe and move the ribs, we can get a little bit of movement into those thoracic vertebra as well. Let's go across to the other side. Reaching, stretching out through that right hand. Keep the armpits down. Depending on where you're tight, you'll feel it. It might be in the arm, it might be in the armpit, it might be radiating down through those lats. And slowly come back to center. Back up onto your hands and knees. We're going to go into a nice chest opener. So you're still on your hands and knees. We're going to start by drawing our elbow up towards the ceiling. We're going to thread the needle underneath. Take that arm up towards the ceiling. Come back in. Draw up. And then chest opener out there. Good. Slowly come back in. We change to the other side. Still in 4 points. Elbow comes up. Thread the needle through. Rotate up towards the ceiling. Come back. Draw it on up. And chest open out. And back to center. Keep on alternating from side to side. That's it. Arm up to the ceiling. Get that nice thoracic rotation. Elbow draws up. And we stretch out through the pec and chest. And in we come. Good. Few more to go here, guys. Trying to get a little bit deeper with each one. Don't forget about arm up to the ceiling. And that breathing pattern. Good work. That's it. Last one to go on this side. Round it out. Back to center. And open up through that chest. Beautiful stuff. Good. We're still in a kneeling position. We're going to go into our hip flexors. So take your right leg out in front of you. Left leg stays underneath you. You're going to bring your torso up so that you're in a nice straight line. Now we're going to make sure that your setup is spot on with this. So again, we're going into that nice lumbar pelvic work that we did earlier. You're trying to get your shoulder, your hip, and your knee all in line. You're going to tuck your tailbone in and your pubic bone up towards your chest. And that should automatically give you a bit of a stretch through the front of that hip flexor that you've got going on over there. We're going to take that same arm up towards the ceiling. So if you're on the right knee, your right arm goes up. And you're going to lean over and across towards the opposite side. Holding that there. True stretch into that hip flexor or your iliopsoas complex. Don't want you to feel any compression in that lower back. A bit of a squeeze through those glutes is going to help you. And slowly come back to center. We're going to take those arms out in front of you. Reposition that pelvis, tailbone tucking in underneath you. Lean forwards ever so slightly and rotate those arms across towards the opposite side. Just getting into the different fiber orientations of that hip flexor complex. And slowly come back to center. And you can take the arm up towards the ceiling once again. Lean over and across. And back to center, arms out in front of you and rotate over. That's the one. And coming back to center. So drop those hands on down. You're still in this kneeling position. Your right hand is going to go on the inside of your right knee. You're going to rotate that left arm up towards the ceiling, holding that there. Get that beautiful rotational stretch happening. And then we thread that top arm underneath the leg that's in front of you, stretching on through, getting into that posterior oblique sling. So hammies, glutes into the back, and we open up again. Make sure you're anchored properly on the feet, getting the shoulder tucking in towards the knee and vice versa to give you a nice stable support. And through we go. That's the one, guys. Keep on breathing. Keep engaging through those abdominals like we did earlier to give you that nice foundational support. And last one to go here. And thread it on through. Lovely stuff. Good job. Now we're going to drop that right leg out in front of you, straighten the left leg back behind you, and go into your pigeon pose. So you're going to fold yourself on under, get into whatever you comfortably can. If you need some support, if you need a yoga block or a towel or anything underneath your sit bones, that's perfectly fine. If we have a bit more flexibility, we want to try and get that front leg into a 90-degree position, so ankle in line with the knee. That's it. Now play around with the position of your chest as well to get into different angles of the stretch. If you want to add a rotation to it, you're more than welcome to. If you just want to hold it down, that's fine. If you want to bring the chest up, that's also good. Listen to what your body is needing right now and give it what it wants. Couple more deep breaths in and out here, and we slowly come all the way back up. And we go into our hip flexor stretches on the other side. So we switch the legs around, get that torso back up for me, please. We're going to make sure that we have enough space there. So we're going to tuck the tailbone in underneath you, squeeze the glutes a little bit, lengthen that same arm up and reach over and across towards the opposite side. So if you're kneeling on the right knee, you lengthen the right arm up and stretch over to the left. Constantly drawing up towards the ceiling with this one. Get that nice traction sensation happening and coming back to center. Take the arms out in front of you, reposition that pelvis, tuck the tailbone, squeeze the glutes, little push forwards and rotate over and across. Keep that knee facing the front. Don't let that guy drop on out to the side and slowly come back to center. We lengthen the arm up towards the ceiling once again. Reach over and across, breathe into the rib cage, breathe into those abdominals, help facilitate that stretch a little bit more, and slowly come back to center. Take the arms out in front of you and rotate over and across to the same side. So you're rotating over the leg that's in front of you. Looks like someone is already winding down for the weekend. And slowly coming back to center. Lovely. We're going to fold. We'll go into our sling stretch. So place your left hand on the inside of your left leg. If you're on that side, rotate up towards the ceiling with the other side. Make sure that knee is pushing into the shoulder, shoulder into knee, anchored on those feet. Thread that arm underneath the thigh, holding that there for a few seconds, and rotate on up. We're going to try and go a little bit deeper with each one to help facilitate this mobility and stretching, and rounding on out. Lovely stuff. Slow and steady does it. And again. There we go. And one last one. And threading on through. Beautiful stuff. We come back up and we go into our pigeon pose, or any variation of it that you can get yourself into. So we're going to straighten that back leg out in front of you. Try and get your pelvis square towards the front of the mat. You're going to get hopefully a 90-degree angle, so ankle in line with the knee, knee in line with the hip of that front leg if you can. Work with what you've got. If you need some support or a bolster underneath those sit bones, that's fine. Use what you have available to you. So this sort of stuff should be comfortably uncomfortable if we want to initiate any sort of physiological adaptation. It's all about that Goldilocks principle, just the right amount. We want to make sure that we're getting enough. Right, slowly unravel yourself from that position. And we're going to go back into our 4 points. So on the hands and knees, you're going to tuck those knees underneath you. We're going to reignite through those lower abdominals. So make sure we're drawing that belly button in towards the spine, strong through those shoulders. Chest out ever so slightly. Make sure the rib cage isn't flaring out. Tummy nice and tight. We exhale, lift both knees up and off the floor. Just holding that position for me, please. Constantly breathing. Don't hold the breath. Keep your spine in a nice level position. Tailbone is lengthening away. Your pelvis isn't rounding. It's not dropping either. We keep it going for another 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop yourself on down. Take a quick breather. Now you can do the exact same thing, or you can take 1 point of contact off of the floor for the next one. So reignite through those TA muscles. belly button to spine. Exhale, lift yourself up. Take one foot slightly off the floor, holding that there. Nothing moves. Shoulders stay still. Back stays flat. Belly button in, rib cage down. Keep breathing, looking past those fingertips. 4 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. Down we go. Quick breather. Then we change over to the other foot. Deep breath in. Exhale. Up we go. Holding that there. Strong through the shoulders. Open the chest. Make sure the tummy's tight. Rib cage in, looking past those fingers. And down we go. So we're going to go to those hands. Now you may need to separate your feet a little bit wider to give you a bigger base of support to maintain that control through the lumbar pelvic region. And we exhale, lift yourself up, and one hand comes off the floor. Try and limit that rotation through the torso. We want to keep everything as still as possible. 3 more seconds. 2, 1, and down you go. Have a break, and we lift up to the other side. Hold that there. Knees stay close to the floor. Keep it going. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down to center. So the aim is to try and stay as still as possible. So line your belly button up with something on the floor and don't let it come off of that point. So you can either hold with all 4 points, or you could go into a 1-point lift, or we can go into the more advanced position and take one hand and opposite foot off of the mat. So it doesn't have to extend out, just lift off the floor, both knees, and then one hand and one foot. Try and keep that belly button centered, limit that rotation. Watch what's happening through all those slings. Keep it going. 3, 2, 1, and down we go. Lovely. You've got one last side to go, guys. Deep breath in, strong through the center. Lift those knees up. Lift one foot and one hand off of the floor. Make sure it's the opposite side to what you've just done. That's it. Come on, keep going. 5 more seconds, 4 more seconds, 3, 2, 1, and down you go. Drop your bum back toward your feet, chest out in front of you. Stretch it out. Try and go a little bit further than we did earlier. And slowly curling all the way back up. Lovely stuff. We're going to go into a seated position, please. Make sure that you have space in front of you. And we're going to have those legs out. So again, if you've got short hammies, we're going to bend those knees a little bit, or you're going to prop yourself up on a rolled up towel or a cushion to re-angle that spine so that we're not rounding through, re-angle the pelvis so that you're not rounding through the spine. Separate those feet. You're going to have your arms out in front of you. Take a nice deep breath in. You're going to exhale. Drop chin down towards the chest. Slowly start rolling down. Stretch as far forwards as you possibly can. Try and keep those legs straight. Feel the stretch through the back of the legs. Try not to bounce. We're going to hold it there with your exhale. And then slowly curl up through the rest of the spine as if you're sitting against a wall. Lovely. And again, chin down towards the chest. Articulating through each segment of the spine. Stretching on forwards. Try and get those hands to brush past the big toes as opposed to the pinkies. And slowly curling all the way back up. Great. And again, down we go. That's it. And up we come. 2 more, please, guys. Stretching on out. And up we come. Challenge yourself. Straighten the legs. Reach a bit further. And out we go. Hold it there for me, please, folks. Reach out through the crown of the head. Stretch it away. And slowly up we come. Lovely stuff. We're going to bring those feet together. You're going to brush your hands back behind you so that your fingertips are pointing towards your bum. So we're going to have strong shoulders. Make sure those fingertips are quite close to the bum. Lengthening out through the shoulders. So ears and shoulders are away. We're pre-activating that whole posterior chain. So you're anchoring those heels down onto the floor. Take a nice deep breath in. You're going to exhale. Lift your hips up and off the floor. You're going to try and get a nice ski slope formation from front to back. You're going to try and lift up a little bit higher. Hold it there. Keep it going. 3, 2, 1. Slowly lower yourself on down. Keep those shoulders away from the ears as you come on down. You probably want to take your hands back a little bit to give you a bit more space. Nice deep breath in. Exhale. Squeeze those glutes. Lift yourself on up. You should be feeling a bit of a stretch going on through the shoulders and the chest as well. Make sure this bum is engaging and you're pushing down through those feet. Slowly lower yourself down. Keep those shoulders away from the ears. And we go again. Exhale, lifting on up. Hold that there. Good. Open up through the chest. Look up towards the ceiling ever so slightly, but no crease throughout the back of your neck. And down we go again. Good. And up we go. 2 more, please, guys. Stretch and strengthen at the same time. And down we come. One last one. That's it. There's a good one. And slowly coming on down. Good. Reach on forwards. Grab onto the furthest point that you can. Give those knees a great big kiss. They do a lot of work for us throughout the day. So show them a little bit of love. Good. Slowly coming all the way back up. Let's go into our QL stretch. So if we're going to still be seated, you're going to have your right leg out in front of you. Your left leg is going to be tucked on in. Make sure that you've got equal pressure on both sit bones. You're going to place your right hand on the inside of your right calf. That's just to anchor you down. Left arm rotates back. Stretch up and over. Holding that there. Don't let your bum cheek lift up and off the floor. Keep this knee on down. You should be feeling the stretch going on through the side of the torso. Breathe into the stretch. Breathe into that rib cage. Holding it there. With each exhale, you try and go a little bit further. Then we round on out. Slowly come back up into a seated position. We're going to go on that side once again. So equal pressure on both sit bones. Deep breath in, rotate backwards first, then stretch up and across, holding that there. Reach a little bit further, try and get towards those toes if you can. Leaning on forwards, play around with the angle of rotation through the torso because that's also going to give you a different stretch. We round on out, slowly come back up and we change to the other side. So left leg out in front of you, right leg tucked on in, equal pressure on both sit bones. And we're going to take that right hand back behind you and stretch on up. Holding that there. Try and get this leg to stay on down. And then when we come out, we round through the chest and slowly up we come. We want to try and get a little bit more rotation through this torso. So you're going to twist out first, then reach up and over. Keep the pressure down on this side. Stretching through that segment of the torso. So it's a very sneaky muscle. It does like to cling on for dear life. And we're going to do one last one. Please round on out. Twist through the chest. Reach up and over. Don't let that opposite bum cheek lift off the floor. Keep it fuss on the mat, please. And slowly rounding on out. Lovely stuff. Right, straighten those legs out in front of you. You may want to shuffle down a little bit so that you have more space behind you. So arms out in front of you. You're going to roll all the way back down onto your mat, lying down flat. Arms down to your sides. Bring the knees in towards the chest. Hug those knees and gently rock across, giving yourself a nice little spinal massage. We're going to go into our classic figure 4, so place your right ankle onto the left knee, so you're still lying down on your back, unless you wanted another extra little abdominal series. Bring the knees towards the chest. You're going to place the hands around that thigh, bring the knees towards the chest, use that opposite elbow, so if your right knee is out to the side and your right elbow is going to push into that right knee, just to deepen that stretch a little bit. I'm sure these glutes are feeling nice and tight. And we change over to the other side. Don't let that neck strain. If you've got a lot of tension, you're probably going to feel like you need to keep your chest up. Rather just prop a pillow underneath your head and work on that range of motion going forwards. Great. Now we're going to go into our piriformis or pretzel stretch. So we're going to take the hands away, cross the legs over completely above the knee. So let's bring both knees in towards the chest. Again, make sure that your legs are crossing above the knees, not at the shin level. You're not going to feel the stretch otherwise. Keep the knees drawing in towards the chest. You're going to try and pull those ankles apart ever so slightly. Make sure that the knees stay nice and close towards the chest. If you're wanting to deepen the stretch, you can try and tilt your tailbone down towards the floor without letting your knees move away from the chest. That's just going to change the angle of the pelvis, change where the tension is being felt through those different muscles in that hip girdle and intensify it for you. It's a beautiful stretch and a great one if you're having hip issues or lower back problems and just needing something to relieve it. Okay, let's change over to the other side. Remember, these guys should be comfortably uncomfortable if they're going to make any difference. That's it. Use your breathing, play around with the position of the pelvis, keep the knees towards the chest. Breathe into it. And slowly coming back to center. So we're going to grab onto our belt or to your towel or anything that you have available to you that has a bit of length. You can use a TheraBand if you want. Just try and keep the tension in the band so that doesn't give way. You're going to lie down completely. We're going to go into our TFL stretch, which is a muscle that is associated with the ITB. So we're going to bend this knee. We're going to start with a 90-degree angle. Okay, so your ankle is in line with your knee, and your knee and hip are in line as well. We're going to take the leg over and across towards the opposite side of the body. Try and keep your shoulders down if you can. You're going to rotate your toes down towards the floor. You're going to pull down on that inside hand, on the inside portion of your rope or whatever you're using. Now you're going to try and straighten the leg on out. Keep those toes down towards the floor. Every millimeter you're going to feel something different. If it's neural, make sure that you're not holding it for too long. If it's just sort of a muscular tension, you can keep it going. Right, and slowly come back to center and release. And we go again. Rotate over and across, toes down towards the floor. Play around with the different angles. You'll be amazed what a little adjustment here and there does. Keep the shoulders on down. That's it. And coming back to center. And across we go again. Holding that there. Beautiful. And if you get a little bit of a tremor going on, that's perfectly fine. And back to center. Holding that there. We're going to straighten that leg on out. Try and keep the knee locked out. Bring the leg to the highest point that you can. Opposite leg on the floor stays down. Stretching out through that heel. Draw the toes down towards the nose. Should be getting a stretch through the posterior aspect of that leg. Shoulders are relaxed and you're still breathing. Try and really get that tension. So every time it loosens up with your exhale, bring the leg up a little bit higher if you can. And you can bend, have a quick breather. And we go again, up we come, holding that there. Now we're going to go into an ankle pump. So I want you to get into that calf structure a little bit more. And again, you can do this with a straight or a bent knee to get into the different components of that calf complex. So feel what your body is needing at this moment in time. Good. 3, 2, 1, and relax. Let's change over to the other side. We're going to go into that TFL stretch. So we're starting with your other leg flat on the floor. 90-degree angle, ankle in line with the knee, knee in line with the ankle. We're going to come over and across, toes down towards the floor, straighten that leg on out ever so slightly, keep those shoulders flat. And slowly back up to center. And we go again, over and across, straightening the leg on out, shoulders stay down, go to where you comfortably can control. And back to center. And again, and straighten that leg up towards the ceiling, bring it all the way up, try and straighten out through the back of that leg, don't bounce, we just hold, anchor that other leg flat on the floor, and release for a second, and we go again, exhale, stretch out into it, lengthening away, holding it there. And slowly release, one last one, and then we go into the ankle pumps. And we lengthen, well, pump up and down through that ankle. So you can play around with either a straight or a bent knee, feel what your body needs. And slowly release, lovely stuff. You can let go of your band, of your towel or your belt. And we're still lying on the back, so you're going to have your knees bent. You're going to have your feet about fist distance apart and your heels a foot and a bit away from the bum. We're going to rock back onto that pelvis, slowly lift the hips up and off the floor. And slowly rolling all the way down. Good. We're articulating through that spine. Each vertebra, one segment at a time. And down we go. Last one, just loosening up any tension in that lower back. Bit of a stretch through those quads if you're tight in the front. And down we go. Lovely stuff. Right, let's have you lying down on your one side. It doesn't matter which one we're on. Nice straight line. So bottom arm is wherever is comfortable. You're going to be reaching your top arm out in front of you towards the top corner, so a little bit higher, and your top leg is going to come back ever so slightly. So we're working on a nice pivoting axis for this helicopter exercise. You may want to bend your bottom knee just slightly for a little bit of support. This top leg is lifting up towards hip height, holding that there. Lengthening out, you're going to point those toes as much as you possibly can. You're going to reach the top arm out a little bit further, almost so that your chest touches the floor. And then we're going to pivot in the opposite direction. So the arm comes back, the leg goes out in front of you. Make sure you don't knock out the limited wine supply that's still available. And slowly rotate across towards the other side. Lovely stuff. Good. Still engaging through those lower abdominals like we have been doing throughout. Trying to reach a little bit further into the stretch with each one that you do. Find that pivot point. Use those central stabilizers. And if you can, even when you take that arm back behind you, try and get the shoulder onto the floor. So really rotate far back. There we go. That's better. Stretch into the front. Last 2 to go. And one last one. And coming back to center. Lovely stuff. You can bend those knees, take the arms out in front of you. And we're going to go into our straightforward thoracic rotation. So keep the pelvis stacked, keep the knees pushing forwards, keep that top line open. You're going to lift your top arm up towards the ceiling, rotate all the way back. Keep pushing that top knee to the front. Don't let these knees move at all. Slowly come back up to center. Making sure this pelvis stays stacked. Tummy nice and tight, so get that TA engaged. And we lift up, exhale, rotate. Trying to get the shoulder all the way back. If you can, try and touch the floor. That's where we're wanting to reach. But don't let anything else move down through here. And up we come. Last one. And slowly coming back to center. Lovely stuff. Right. Bring your top leg further forward for me, please. So onto the floor. So your bottom leg stays where it is. Your top leg reaches all the way to the front. Top arm goes all the way back, and we're just going to hold back into that nice rotational stretch. Breathe into it. Don't fight it. Just let gravity assist you. Feel where you've got the limitations. Is it in the chest? Is it in the torso? Have you got some SIJ discomfort in that lower back? Are you feeling it in the bum? Breathe into the stretch. And slowly coming back to center. Let's roll on over to the other side. Get into the opposite side. So we are keeping the body nice and stacked. Bottom leg is slightly bent. Top arm reaching as far forwards as you can, almost to get that chest to touch the floor with the front of you can. Lengthening out through that top leg, pointing those toes. We're trying to get the longest line from toes to fingertips. And we reach all the way out and around. So working on that pivot point. That's it. And we reach towards the front. Anchoring down on that bottom leg. Still engaging through that torso. And reach on back. Slow and steady as well. We don't want to go too fast with this one. It's a bit of a motor neural exercise as well. So the nervous system is involved with all of this. And reach on out. Last one. And back to center. Lovely stuff. Let's bend those knees. Take those arms out in front of you. We're going to rotate that top arm up towards the ceiling as you inhale. Exhale, rotate backwards down towards the floor. Try and keep those knees pushing forwards, opening up through that top line. And back to center. And again, out we go. And back to center. Last two. Trying to go a little bit further with each one that you do. Use that exhale. Back to center. One more. And coming back to center. We're going to take that top leg towards the floor. And so we're going to separate those legs slightly. Top arm is going to reach on back, get into that nice rotational stretch. Try and get the arm to touch on down. Let gravity assist you and use that exhale to just sink into the mobility a little bit more. Don't fight it. Notice if there's any difference between the left and the right hand side. And slowly coming back to center. Lovely stuff. Right onto those hands and knees once again, folks. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. We're going to go back into that cat stretch, rounding through each segment of the spine, one vertebra at a time. Opening up through that chest, and tailbone tucks in, lower back, mid back, upper back. Tuck the head in. Look past those knees. Again, trying to make sure that you keep your hips and your knees in line. So making sure that you're not shifting too far forward. You really want to isolate that movement through the pelvic girdle to start with, and slowly come on up and lengthen on out. Lots of tummy work. Don't forget about that TA that we introduced you to at the beginning of the session. And away we go. Next one, we curl all the way back up. You're going to push back into your downward dog stretch. So knees off the floor, straighten those legs on out, shoulders away from the ears. We're going to bend both knees ever so slightly. Holding that there. Drop down into those shoulders a little bit more if you can. Holding that there. We're going to rise up onto those tippy toes. Good. Shift the weight backwards ever so slightly. Drop the heels on down, and that should intensify the stretch a little bit for you. Holding that there. Shoulders away from the ears. Rib cage pulling on in. Making sure that we're using those tummy muscles. We're going to bend the right knee ever so slightly. Stretch out through the left. And we change to the other side. And again. Keep alternating. That's it. 5 more. 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly coming back to center. We're going to hinge on down, hovering those knees slightly off the floor, shoulders away from the ears. Tummy nice and tight. Flatten that back on out for me, please. Opening up through the chest. Make sure that your hips are directly over the knees, and you have a nice support through that torso. And we're going to exhale, push back into that down dog stretch again, holding that there, pushing deeper into the stretch, dropping those heels a little bit further down, and hinge down towards the mat once again. Nice position through that spine. Flatten that mid back, open the chest, push the shoulder blades out in front of you. I don't want to see the cyclist back here, please. Shoulders lengthening on out, rib cage down. Hold, and we exhale, push on back. That's it. Last one. Let's make it perfect, please. Hold that there. Good position through the entire spine. Nice and strong through that serratus and mid-thoracic region. And we exhale. Up we come, holding that there. Slowly walking the hands towards the feet with no crocodile sway of the tailbone as you come on up. Hang nice and heavy down at the bottom there. Make sure that you're grabbing onto the lowest part of the legs that you possibly can. Bending those knees, chest close to the thighs. It should be a little bit more comfortable than the beginning of the session. Exhale, we're going to straighten out through the back of the knees. Keep the chest where it is. Don't let it round on up. Inhale, bend. And exhale, straighten out through those knees. Not the chest, just the knees. Holding that there. Inhale, bend the knees. Exhale, straighten out through the back of the knees. Now place your hands on the front of the shins, and we're going to go onto our half fold. So now you can straighten out through that back. More of a yoga pose here. Inhale, fold yourself all the way down. And exhale, push out, hands on the shins, opening up through that chest, reaching that sternum away, flattening that back. Inhale, bend. Last one here, and exhale, straightening on out. Hold that there. Flop yourself on down, slowly start tucking the tailbone in, curling all the way up towards the ceiling. Interlacing those hands, reaching up towards the sky. Reaching over and across towards the one side. Keeping equal anchorage on both feet. And over and across towards the other side. And slowly coming back to center, and hands behind your head for me, please. We're going to go into a nice thoracic rotation here, so hips facing the front. Reach over and across towards the one side. Keep both knees towards the front, and over and across towards the other side. Don't let those knees sway out. Keep them facing forwards, and slowly coming back to center. Well, folks, that is our session for today. Thank you, Jack Mac. Well done. Hope everyone's feeling good. I'm sure we all have a few drinks available to wind down. I think this chap over here definitely needs one, and I'm living vicariously through all of you. So Enjoy, have a great weekend, enjoy your hours outside tomorrow morning, and we'll see you again soon. Take it easy.